Hey guys, it's Faye from Solar Flow and I am back with an all new video. Today's topic is Ask Me Anything. So I wanted to give the power to you the people because Lord knows we could all use a little bit more self-empowerment in our lives. And in the community section, I had opened it up for you guys to vote on what video you wanted this week. And this video eked out ahead of Justin Timberlake and Jessica Biel by the tiniest of margins. But don't worry, because every video that was listed there for you to vote on will still get its day in the sun. However, that day is not this day because this day is AMA Day. So if you guys have not yet been over to the community section and checked it out, I encourage you, of course, when you're done watching this video, to head over there because that's where I share polls and insights and things that I discover out and about in the world. And if you want to get in on the topic of conversations we have over there, head over there. Now, I'm also going to be very candid because I did review my notes prior to sitting down to record. I don't think that this is the most groundbreaking or earth-shattering AMA. Sure, I think some of the topics are kind of cool, but in all candidness, the mini energy read videos that I'm going to be releasing over the next couple of weeks, as well as the full-length videos, I think are going to be much more fascinating. Because I'm a little short on time, so I'm going to get out as much as I can today. But I think a lot of the interesting topics may not make it into this video because I have a couple extra pages on them or they're a little bit longer. So they're going to get their own future mini energy read, as well as I have some topics lined up for the next few weeks that are going to be their own standalone videos. First and foremost, I'm like combining people together. Justin Timberlake and Jessica Biel, J Lo and Ben Affleck, Sophie Turner and Joe Jonas, and very excited, after weeks and weeks and weeks of hounding Coco Chanel, Miss Thing decided to come in. But she is definitely gonna get her own standalone mini energy read. As is, who else? Who else do I have? I got some exciting people. What's his name? Hold on, I gotta find it. You guys are gonna be happy when you hear who it is, because I've gotten a lot of requests for this particular person. And I have Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson is also gonna get his own standalone mini-ish energy read. And probably, much to my chagrin, because he's one of my favorite people that I have looked into, Samuel L. Jackson. Unless we have enough time for him, but probably not. So that was a hella long intro. It's just to say, guys, you ain't seen nothing yet, because everything I have coming out over the next few weeks is going to be like fire. So, as always, you are free to hop around, and I have put asterisks down below at the particular topics that I myself have found to be interesting or notable in some way, shape, or form. But you do you, boo. You watch what you want to, you skip around, and I look forward to hearing and, well, actually more like reading your amazing comments down below. So here we go. Let's dive in. The first person whose energy I was asked to look into and came into me is a former CNN TV broadcast journalist by the name of Don Lemon. I think he goes by Lemon, but okay, it's spelled lemon, so Don Lemon. Now, he was a CNN TV journalist from 2014 until 2022 when he was relieved of his duties. Let's see what Don Lemon's energy wanted to share with me. Don Lemon, or Lemon, is surprised. Yes, still. Surprised now. And he is also more than just a little bitter. He was a good little foot soldier, did as he was told, read what he was told to say, and yes, sometimes even allowed to have his personal opinion shine through. And for this, he was fired. So if we want to know if the news media is corrupt, he says, yes, of course it is. Because people like him aren't meant to be fired, but yet he was, and here he is. Now, I'm just going to go back for a second and really reiterate the point of what he had shared with me. He points out the fact that he was a good little foot soldier. He did as he was told, and he read what he was told to say. So that is what I have for you on Don Lemon. Any questions, please do let me know down below. The next person I was asked to look into, this is a shorty boy, is a TV host by the name of Jay Leno. Now, he was the host of The Tonight Show from 1992 until 2009. And then I think he also went back into it in like 2014 for a couple of years. So he has had a rather illustrious TV hosting career, and he is known for having an extensive car collection. Let's see what his energy wanted to share with me. Jay Leno's energy is really low, and his aura is really gray as well. He has some sort of health concern, and it is draining his internal battery. The only thing that remotely keeps him going is his wife, because as he shared with me, the love of a good woman is truly priceless. That is what I have for you on Jay Leno. Any questions, please do let me know down below. Now, the next person I was asked to look into is a British songwriter, singer, and actress who goes professionally by the name FKA Twigs. Her real name is Talia Barnett. Now, this is interesting to me, may not be so interesting to you. I actually have never heard one of her songs. I only knew of her anecdotally because at a certain point she was dating Robert Pattinson, and they are no longer together. But I think I'm kind of at the age where these younger newcomers, I'm like, who are you? I don't know who these people are. But funnily enough, I was actually watching a video last night, and it was a young girl who's 24. She said she's 24 years old, and she was doing a commentary on Ryan Reynolds and was sharing that Ryan Reynolds had been in like the early 2000s in a relationship with Alanis Morissette. She had no idea who Alanis Morissette was. I mean, my entire, like, if you're my age, around my age, middle-aged, like, and you're American, we were all like raging with Alanis Morissette. Like, how does somebody not know who Alanis Morissette is? She didn't even know how to pronounce her name. She's like Alanis. So here we go. There's a great divide between like the youth and the middle-aged people. No more clear than in our conceptual understanding of people in pop culture. But I digress. Back to FKA Twigs, whose songs I am not even a little bit familiar with. Let's see what her energy wanted to share with me and with you. FKA Twigs, i.e. Talia, is a bit of a tortured soul, by her own admission. She has this unfortunate gift of being drawn and attracted to other tortured souls, and sometimes it's a beautiful gift as they can explore the dark parts of their souls together. But sometimes it's where the dark recesses of the other person's soul are just projected out and onto her, and she's left alone to sift and sort alone. Real life over here, noise out on the street. Through it as she tries to extricate herself from the absolute mess her life has become because of it. She is not a surface level woman. She is actually, in fact, quite deep. I don't know how old she is though. If she's in her 20s, she's quite deep for being in her 20s. And has a lot of depth, but that depth also creates a lovely and hospitable environment for those of a darker nature to unload their shit onto her. So that is what I have for you on the lovely FKA Twigs. Any questions, please do let me know down below. Now I'm skipping a bunch of pages because here's some other notes I had taken. The next topic, this is a wild one. The next topic that I was asked to look into is head replacement. Don't worry if you don't know what head replacement is, I shall tell you. I, in fact, had never heard of head replacement prior to one of you guys sharing a clip with me and asking me to look into it. So essentially, to the best of my understanding, this idea of what head replacement is that they're working on technology that would allow them, imagine as if we were Lego pieces. Our head could be detached from our body and it could be put onto another body. Literally, like we're all Lego pieces and you can just take a head off and pop it on another Lego body. So the question is this in fact possible? What's the intentionality and the purpose in a technology like this being designed? Is it good? Is it bad? Let's find out. So head replacement, literally taking your head off of your body and putting it on another body, and your consciousness goes with it. Let's explore. So head replacement, is it possible? No, not at the current time. So few, first and foremost. But here's the other thing. It's not actually being sold for the current time, but for some future time when we can change bodies as frequently as we change our nail polish colors. Alarming. Because the idea with transhumanism, and I've actually done a video in the past on the overall trans agenda, transhumanism and like our sexual identity, transgenderism. I have done a previous video on that, which I will link down below if you have not yet seen it and you want to go back and see it, or if you want a refresher. But the overall idea of transhumanism is just this, that at some point in the future, our consciousness will be stored in the cloud. This is what they want for us. Our consciousness will be stored in the cloud and can be uploaded and downloaded, literally just like your photos can be uploaded and then downloaded to a new device. So they want to be able to upload it or download it to some motherboard that will be located as a chip in our brain. And that once our body starts to get old, or we need a hip replacement, or our heart starts to go out, we can just trade bodies instead of actually keeping the body we currently have healthy. This is, of course, however, not meant for us. Sorry, so sorry, not sorry. Because we are the 99%, or the so-called useless eaters, as they like to call us. Because they, as in the elites and the 1%, would just rather switch over to a whole new clone. So then you might be wondering, if they're just going to switch their consciousness over to a whole new clone and it's not meant for us, who's the head replacement meant for? And it was shown to me that it is meant for their elite security, or, dun dun dun, the plot thickens, a new breed of super soldiers. Because if you have trained your elite bodyguard to the absolute perfection, do you really want to lose them if they get blown up? Or their shoulder goes out? Or they bust a knee? You've already trained them to absolute perfection. So the head replacement is made for the elite security or the super soldiers. Because to just replace the head and the consciousness with it, because their consciousness has been uploaded to the cloud and then downloaded onto a motherboard chip that lives in their brain, that's just easier than having to create a whole new super soldier. Because once you can transfer consciousness by switching the head, the ultimate idea, in fact, is to put a human head on a cyborg body. that is near indestructible. But it computes, it's not artificial intelligence, it's human intelligence. But it's not a human body that's fallible. It's going to be on some cyborg-like body that is infallible, but it still has human consciousness, rationale, decision-making. So it's pretty nifty for a future that included things like Agenda 2030, right? As it's a great way to stop or shut down a human rebellion. But don't worry, guys, in case you're just watching this one clip and you haven't seen some of my other earlier work, Agenda 2030 was a thing. It's not going to come to pass. Yes, the year 2030 will come to pass, but not the agenda with it. And I'm also going to share with you that the tell for this idea of a head replacement or a human head being put onto a cyborg-like body, the tell was there in a movie called RoboCop. Anyone else still have nightmares from RoboCop because you saw it when you were too young? Anyone else? Give me a hand down below. I still have nightmares from that movie. And what was the premise of RoboCop? A police officer was unalived in the line of duty, and his consciousness was kind of crafted into a robot-like, into a robot. I'm telling you, this movie, I have the heebie-jeebies just talking about it. But his consciousness was kind of like incorporated into a robot-like being that was meant to be the next generation of police officers. Creepy shit, I tell you. Now, but however, in this case, the idea of the head replacement on the super soldiers is not to stop the so-called bad guys, but we, the American people. So that is what I have for you on head replacement. Any questions, please do let me know down below. Now, the next person I was asked to look into is a former Prime Minister of England by the name of Winston Churchill. And he was most notably Prime Minister during World War II. Let's see what his energy wanted to share with me. Winston Churchill's eyes flashed to me, and I took this to be a silent invitation to stay and to read his energy, and it was one that I was all too happy to take. He sighed deeply, and again, his eyes flashed to me. So I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say that he was rather expressive in nonverbal communication in what his eyes were actually able to convey, because we're in like 30 seconds in me sharing what had happened, and I'm already sharing 2 examples of how his eyes were trying to communicate something with me. So you can let me know if this is true to your understanding of him. But so his eyes had flashed to me again, but this time what was shown was not an invitation to stay and read his energy, but guilt. And he tells me they had him over a barrel, and he was limited in what he could do. And he told me he felt bad and he wished he could have done more, and in fact knows he could have done more, but that was not the world he lived in. It was not a world with free men and decisive leaders. And for that, he is genuinely sorry. So that is what I have for you on Winston Churchill. Any questions, please do let me know down below. Now, I am going to skip some additional pages. Here we go. So this next one is rather short. You know, not all the segments are long, but if you ask me to look into a topic and the energy comes in, I'll share it with you guys. So the next person whose energy I was asked to look into is an American actor by the name of Don Johnson. Now, Don Johnson was formerly in the past married to Melanie Griffith, and they had a daughter by the name of Dakota, who is now currently an actress in Hollywood. Now, I have done a segment on Dakota Johnson for a previous AMA, linked down below if you want to get an assessment on her as well. Let's see what Don Johnson's energy wanted to share with me. Don Johnson was able to parlay his all-American good looks into a Hollywood career. And thank God for that, according to him, because he knows he was not the sharpest tool in the shed. As in, he wasn't the smartest kid in school. So he did good, according to himself. And he is glad Dakota has her own thing now. And he also wanted me to know that both himself and Mel, as in Melanie Griffith, had warned her, as in their daughter Dakota Johnson, and they let her know what the industry was like, but there was no stopping her. Once she had decided this is what she wanted, that was that. And he hopes she has staying power in the industry, because Lord knows the industry is not kind to the young girls. That is what I have for you on Don Johnson. Any questions? Please do let me know down below. Now, this next one is super duper short, but again, you guys asked, so this is what came in. I share with you. I was asked to look into, I think this is a singer, his name is Willie Nelson. Again, somebody whose music I may or may not be familiar with, I don't really know. In this case, I'm the young whippersnapper who's like, I'm not familiar with his music. He's not my generation. Or maybe I'm just showing my ignorance to like the classics. I don't really know, you can decide. But I was asked to look into the energy of Willie Nelson. Brief as it is, this is what he had shared with me. Willie Nelson wishes peace and love to everyone, and that's all he wanted to share. So that is what I have for you on Willie Nelson. Any questions, please do let me know down below. Now, the next person whose energy I was asked to look into is someone by the name of Richard Simmons. Now, Richard Simmons is a former American fitness instructor and TV personality. I think he's most well known for Sweatin' to the Oldies. So he would be in his unitard or leotard with the, the sweatband around his forehead and the sweatbands around his wrist and the thick, heavy leg warmers. And he would be doing all of these exercises to maybe, I don't think like Willie Nelson's music, but like the oldies, Sweatin' to the Oldies. I think he recently had crossed over. Let's see what Richard Simmons's energy wanted to share with me. Richard Simmons is, or I think as he just crossed over, was a deeply wounded and traumatized soul. He is the quintessential type A personality who always had to be doing something so he didn't have to stop and feel his emotions or think. He also really didn't like slow people for this reason, as well as slow people slow people that got in his way forced him to slow him down. And he really made it his mission to get people up and to get people moving just so they could go and not be so damn slow and slow him down. So it was done in part to get people out of his way so he could keep running away from himself and his conflicted emotions. Did it have a positive effect for civilization and humanity at that time? He was getting people up off the sofas and getting them exercising, yeah. But part of the reason he did it was for selfish motivation. Get off your fucking sofa and go. So that way when you're in the grocery store or you're pumping gas or you're doing whatever the fucking, you're not gonna be in his way because he just wanted to go. Running away from his unresolved trauma. So let's see what that unresolved trauma was. He was conflicted because he was gay. But also, he had been, I don't know if I can say the word, so I'm going to spell it out. He had been SA. As in, I'm going to break it up in case you don't know what SA is. He had been sexually, and then the next word after that is abused, SA. He had been SA'd as a not too young child, maybe around the age of 7, I promise I can enunciate, around the ages of 7 or 8 years old. by an older man. And even though he himself had never SA'd a child or had ever even thought of them sexually, he always carried incredible guilt for being gay after what he had endured. Like, he internalized it and felt like being SA'd was supposed to turn him straight, but it didn't, because that's not the way these things work. So he could never relax into himself and just be. And therefore, he always felt like an outlier or an outsider. And he had really hoped after he crossed over, he would never have to come back here again. So that is what I have for you on Richard Simmons. Any questions, please do let me know down below. Now, this next one is also super short, but since you guys asked and her energy came in, I deliver it to you. I was asked to look into the energy of Ali Larter, who is an American actress and former model. Let's see what her energy wanted to share with me. Ali Larter shared with me that she feels she got so fucking lucky to get into the industry when she did. And if she is being completely honest, she feels so fucking lucky knowing what she knows about it now and knowing that she never had to do any of that. Now, she didn't share with me what the any of that was, but if you've been here for a while, you probably have some idea of the any of that is. And if you don't, let me know and I'll point you in the direction of some of my former content that I had created. She shared with me she was cute and she had a bubbly and pleasant personality, and a very gay casting agent just knew that she would be perfect for a particular role, and voila, a career was born. So nothing was ever asked or expected of her, especially since she was mostly only on TV. She didn't really have any big major roles in movies or whatever else. So she kind of had an in without really having to do anything to get in. And while she did have some level of success and she made a little bit of a name for herself and she made a little bit of money, she fucking bounced. And she is more than happy, ecstatic in fact, to be out of it mostly and to live a nice, normal life. Now that is what I have for you on Ali Larter. Any questions, please do let me know down below. Now, the next topic I was asked to look into, I gotta skip some more pages, is another actress. This one by the name of Eva Mendes. She's had some career success. She's mostly, I think, now known for being married to Ryan Gosling, and they have 2 young daughters together. Now, her husband, I haven't looked into her husband yet, but Ryan Gosling has been very candid. He's actually kind of cute about it. I mean, he's kind of cute, but he's also cute about it. Where he's been interviewed and he said, what does he look for in a woman other than, you know, his wife? And he said, like, what do I look for in a woman? I look for Eva Mendes in a woman. Why is he make it make sense. He loves her. Like, why is an interviewer even asking him this? So he's really, really good at like driving the point home. What does he look for in a woman? He looks for his wife because he's married. So, but I digress. Let's go back to the energy of Eva Mendes and see what she wanted to share with me. I'm all over the place today, guys. Mercury like just went direct. And you know, it's real life over here. Shit's happening. So you either take it or you leave it, and you either have a good time with me or you don't. But either way, it's real life over here. This is what we got going on. So Eva Mendes, she was shown to me as having a kooky and sometimes sexy sense of humor. She has very funny observations and sex metaphors that would make a sailor blush. Therefore, she was very popular on set because she has an easygoing vibe and an easygoing energy, and she could easily hang with the guys, and she could make jokes with the guys and make these very funny observations with her male co-stars. And she could talk like the guys, but she was a woman and she was hot. So the guys wanted to bang her, but they were also super protective over her because they genuinely liked her as a person. She was shown to me as not sleeping around. So I'm not going to say the word. I wrote the word, but I'm not going to say the word because we don't slut shame here. I take all of you. Come as you are. I love you. Even if you have slutty energy, I love you. Come. I will take care of you. I am the mother bird. I will take you under my wing. So she was not a slut. Even though if she was, that would have been perfectly okay. And if she would have been slutty with her energy, that's perfectly okay too. And she did not drink the juice. Now, it was shown to me that she was low, like super low level in the club, like super low level in the club. And she actually had met Ryan Gosling at some sort of a club event. Now, if this is all new to you and you're like, what is the club you speak of? It's not a country club. Look at the Hollywood industry like it's an elite club and we ain't in it, because that's a reality. So she was like low level in the club, and she had met Ryan Gosling at some sort of a industry or club event. And it was shown to me that they had hit it off almost immediately. Ryan was completely smitten by her, and he in fact still is. That's why when he is asked what he looks for in a woman, he says, I look for Eva Mendes in a woman. He is very smitten with her to this day. He has it bad for her and she for him. So that is what I have for you on Eva Mendes. Any questions, please do let me know down below. Now, this next topic I was asked to look into is, I don't know if this is a topic I can specifically call it out and say what it is, so I'm gonna kind of dance around it. It's when adults have a sexual attraction to little people. Not like midgets, but like young people, kids, in fact. So I think I can say probably pedos, but I'm not gonna say the full word. But I was asked, first and foremost, to look into it as a whole and to see what it is. And then I was asked to look into and see why would a person's soul choose to come into a lifetime where they experience this attraction to younger people, that significantly younger people than them. So let's see what was shown to me. So I'm gonna kind of like take liberty with the word. I'm gonna call it something that it's not, but you're gonna understand it. So pedoism, I'm very good at creating words. So here you go. Pedoism was shown to me as, in fact, being a symptom of a disease, but it is not necessarily the disease itself. And I was like, say what now? So it was shown to me as being a symptom of a deep lack of self-love, and in fact, it's a form of self-loathing. And because of the lack of self-love, it manifests in a person not believing that they are worthy of a loving, healthy, and more mature relationship. So instead, they choose to engage in entirely unhealthy relationships that involve dominance, because they are significantly older. It involves dominance over another, a younger other. And instead of working on themselves and mastering themselves, they choose to be dominant over a significantly younger person. So in this regard, it is similar to the relational dynamic between an abuser and their victim. Because the abuser, I'm not saying this is an actual need, but from their perspective, they experience it as an actual need. So from the abuser's point of view, they need to feel in control. But instead of working on themselves and controlling themselves, they attempt to control another, as in their victim, instead. And abusers, in case you were wondering, too, suffer from the same lack of self-love. So anytime someone engages in any unhealthy relational dynamic, it is a symptom of the lack of self-love they in fact feel. So one could say the disease is the lack of self-love that they feel towards themselves. The symptomology of it is what's going to define how it is manifested. If it's manifested in the pedoism, or if it's going to be manifested in an abusive relationship. Now the loathing aspect of it is, what did I write here? The loathing aspect is seen, the self-loathing that the PEDO experiences is seen in their choosing to engage sexually with trying to put some space between the words here, a child. But instead of treating themselves badly, because it's self-loathing, so instead of treating themselves badly, they treat a child badly. So in this case, it is the opposite of self-harm. And what's an example of self-harm? Cutting, for example. Now, cutting was shown to me as being a reflection of the pain that one feels and the need to release it. However, they can be in an emotional state or perhaps not feeling emotionally safe, where they can express the emotions that they're feeling. So instead, what they will do is they will cut themselves. So through the experience of cutting themselves and causing physical harm to themselves and then feeling the pain, that is kind of their experiencing the emotions they're feeling by proxy through the experience of cutting themselves. Because the only way for them to feel is to cut themselves, feel the pain, and thus release the stifled emotions that they are experiencing. But the PEDO loathes themselves so much that they cannot even allow themselves that. So in essence, they're not even allowing themselves to experience the release of the emotions. They're so emotionally constipated that they can't even release it. So instead of cutting themselves and giving themselves some sort of an outlet and some sort of a release valve for the self-loathing that they are experiencing, what they instead do is choose to engage in this unhealthy sexual dynamic. So in essence, the pain and suffering is externally directed instead of internally directed. So the next question I was asked is why would a soul choose to experience this or to take this on in an incarnation? And this is what was shown to me. The word that came in as soon as that I asked that question is temperance. Now, temperance is something that I have spoken about in previous videos, and I kind of have a conceptual understanding of what it is, but I didn't know the nitty-gritty full extent of it. And I was like, you know what? If there's ever a time to get the Webster's Dictionary interpretation of temperance, I have a feeling this is it. So that's what I did. But since this is 2024 and I don't have a physical hard copy of Webster's Dictionary, I Googled it. And this is what the explanation of what temperance is. Temperance is the practice of moderating one's impulses. Doesn't this sound all too familiar? So it is the practice of moderating one's impulses and emotions to make wise choices that will benefit oneself and others. Because what does the PEDO do? They make not wise choices. They do not control their own impulses, nor do they have any control over their own emotions, and thus do not make wise choices because of it. So they choose this as a soul lesson for themselves to experience in an incarnation so they can learn temperance. Now, what else did I come to discover about temperance? It can also be defined as voluntary self-restraint or moderation in action, thought, or feeling. to which the PEDO has none of. They will not voluntarily self-restrain themselves in their unhealthy sexual attraction, and they will rather allow themselves to even act on it. In modern usage, temperance is often described in terms of what a person voluntarily refrains from doing. In their case, it is not voluntary. So essentially, this is a soul that came to learn the lesson of temperance and the consequences for not doing so. And it is a true soul lesson indeed. So that is what I have for you on pedoism. Any questions, please do let me know down below. Now, I had sat down to meditate and I got a bunch of random downloads that I'm going to share with you. And then we're going to go back to the AMAs. Because even though these are not questions that were specifically asked of me, since this came in when I sat down with the intention of receiving information for the AMA, I share it with you guys. Because when the guides bring the goods, I share the goods with y'all. So here we go. I need to take a hydration break. But I got, I think, about 4 random downloads that I had received, and I share them with you now. This is also your reminder, if you have not yet taken a hydration break, please do so. And if you are wondering what I'm drinking, it is filtered water because our water supply sucks. And there is a sprinkling of Celtic sea salt in my water to remineralize my body. Random downloads. Random high vibe downloads. Here we go. Number 1. It is never our guides nor God that are separate from us, as they and God are always with us. It is us, in fact, who separates from them through a lack of awareness and choices. But they are part and parcel of us and with us, whether we have the understanding or not. You ain't never alone. Now, the next random high vibe download that I had received is that there are no so-called bad choices that we can make. Not ever, in fact. Because every choice we make is a reflection of our free will and what we came here for. So even the choices that gut us, even the choices we make that gut us to our core, and that we fret over and agonize over, and the ones that we may come back to years later and wonder if it was really, in fact, the right choice that we had made, even those were not ever a wrong decision, especially if they were life-changing in some way. And in that case, those were soul contracts and our soul's decision to experience it in this lifetime. And thus, we were just playing out our part in the roles that we agreed to play prior to being born. So relax a little. Go for a walk, meditate, spend some time in the sun. And by doing so, and thus relaxing our mind, we can settle on a decision or a choice. But no matter what we do or choose, remember, there is no wrong choice that we can make. Now, the next random high vibe download that I had received is regarding self-care. And it was shown to me that the things we naturally do for others are the things that we ourselves will benefit from, especially if we do them for ourselves. So, for example, if you are the friend that everybody knows will be there for them in their darkest hour, guess the fuck what? You too will benefit the most from people being there for you. Maybe we just have to ask them or invite them in and let them know we need them. And if you like to buy gifts for others, buy gifts for yourself. Because what we give out into the world freely of ourselves is in fact a reflection of our own unmet needs. So who better to meet those unmet needs than us ourselves? So This is an invitation. If you buy flowers for other people, buy some for yourself. Now, the last high vibe random download that I had received has to do with signs from the universe. This is what was shown to me. When I had asked for a sign, because guess the fuck what, guys? I don't have all the answers. The answers I have are from the goods that the guides bring. I'm not like this elevated human being and I just know it. I don't. I'm the hand that holds the pen of the channeled information. So sometimes I need guidance too. So when I had asked for a sign, I was told, quote, "You are the sign," end quote. And that what I feel called to is in fact my inner compass. Thus, you are the sign, and what you feel called to is your own inner compass. And that it is showing us the way. Because not every sign we ask for will be overt or external, as many of us are now being pushed to evolve and to trust ourselves. And thus no longer to rely on external validation that comes in as external signs. So we are the sign we need. What you feel called to is the direction to go in. So what we feel called to is not in fact a coincidence, but an integral part and piece of our next chapter. That concludes the random high vibe downloads that I had received for you guys. Any questions or comments, please do let me know down below. Now, the next person whose energy I was asked to look into is an actor by the name of Tom Greene. Now, Tom Greene is a Canadian actor, in fact, and he was very briefly married to Drew Barrymore for a period of about 1 year or so. Let's see what his energy wanted to share with me. I actually found him to be insightful. Tom Greene said, or rather requested, please don't judge him on his relationship with Drew Barrymore. And by the way, guys, I've looked into Drew Barrymore for a previous AMA. Yes, it is linked down below for your ease and convenience. You are more than welcome to go back and see what had come in on her, because he spills the beans, he shares the tea, and if you want to kind of like line it up with what she had shared, it might be interesting to do so. So he had requested, please do not judge him on his relationship with Drew Barrymore. He was weak and he was vulnerable, and she swooped in to rescue him, and he believed it. As in, he believed she was the one for him, and he was so wrapped up in herness. This is a word he invented, herness. Because she was like his personal Messiah, or a second coming of Christ. But that was just Drew. She loved having a cause to devote herself to, so she could keep running away from herself. And while that was nice for a little while, to be the focus of all of her attention, in time it became grating to him. Because he wanted to grow and to be in a relationship with a partner who wanted to grow as well, which Drew did not want to. At least not the way he understood true growth to be. Sure, Drew wanted to expand and to take up more space and to grow in her career and to do more, as in take on more. But according to Tom Greene, she didn't really want to be more, as in more of a person and as in becoming more of herself. And that all her relationships and business partners were really just crutches designed to prop her up so she didn't have to do any of the deep work. She didn't have to peel back the layers of her own dysfunctional parental relationships and to see herself clearly. And in his desire to grow and evolve, he realized she would only and always hold him back. So he wants to say he actually is somebody that has some sort of depth to him, and it's a depth he himself is only really starting to get to know now. So that is what I have for you on Tom Greene. Any questions, please do let me know down below. Now, the next person I was asked to look into is a former model by the name of Claudia Schiffer. Let's see what her energy wanted to share with me. And by the way, she gets a explicit warning because some of the things that she had shared with me is a bit gnarly, and I want you to know that in advance. So if you want to skip this segment, you can. So Claudia Schiffer said, I would not believe how much dick she had to suck to get ahead. Because, oh yes, while modeling seems so glamorous, the actual industry is like being in the belly of the beast. And all the girls' appearances are nitpicked apart, and you are always constantly starving and put into very uncomfortable and compromising situations. And while in her day, she was never told right out to do whatever it took to book a job, it was heavily implied. And she had shared with me that the first time a man dropped his pants in front of her and then looked at her and then looked at his dick and then looked back at her, and he didn't even say a word, like it was just expected that a man you just met dropped their fucking pants in front of you, and you as the model are expected to know what to do with it. She had gone running back to her agency in tears, only to be told that's what girls like her do to get ahead. Sometimes I say things without meaning to say it, and I just realized what I said. She was told by her agency this is what girls like her had to do to get ahead. Suck the head so you can get ahead. I lost my place now. Okay, so she was told that's what girls like her had to do to get ahead. Apparently pun included. And she was asked incredulously if she thought she was getting booked on her looks alone. So there was no sympathy for her or what other girls went through to get a job. And there was this weird competitiveness between the other agencies in terms of how many girls they could book for jobs in a month. But she also realized all the modeling agencies knew what was going on when the girls went to try to book a job. So she slowly began to realize that maybe the jobs they were being booked for, while yes, it included modeling, the jobs that they were booked for were really the blowjobs and not the gigs, the modeling gigs at all. Like maybe the whole industry had nothing to do with fashion or clothes, but was satisfying people's weird fetishes instead. So did she have a nice life and a career? Sure, yeah. Was it worth it? She doesn't really entertain ideas like that because it's already done. She was young, she was naive, she was pretty, she was used. She was not seen as a person, but a thing. A walking hanger as a front to the dark side of the industry and a mouth for sexual pleasure, but not a person. Never actually a person. That is what I have for you on Claudia Schiffer. Any questions, please do let me know down below. Now, the next people whose energy I was asked to look into is an actress and an actor by the name of Emily Blunt and John Krasinski. They are in fact married. I believe they do not live in Hollywood, but they still work in the industry. So let's see what their energy wanted to share with me. Emily Blunt and John Krasinski shared they are both really glad they found each other because it could have gone either way there for a minute. but finding one another really helped them ground and breathe and make healthier decisions for themselves and now their family. Do they know what goes on? Yeah, but not fully. They're both actors that are mostly used for the front end of the industry. So just like apparently modeling has a front end, which is walk down a runway or have your picture taken and it's going to be used for promotional purposes, but it's hiding the darker undertones of the industry, there's a similar front purposes to the Hollywood industry. Are they really making movies? Yeah, obviously. You've probably seen movies with Emily Blunt and John Krasinski in it, but there's also some darker stuff that goes on as well. So while maybe they've heard some whispers, it's nothing they know or really have seen firsthand. So they're content to be together, maybe work a bit together, but to them, Hollywood is just a career. It's what they do, but it is not who they are. So that is what I have for you on Emily Blunt and John Krasinski. Any questions, please do let me know down below. Now, the next topic I was asked to look into is an actress, a baby actress. I think she was born in 1998. She a wee little one. Her name is Anya Taylor-Joy. Now, I used to love Anya Taylor-Joy. I had first seen her in a movie by the name of Emma, which is a remake, and I thought she was just so witty and irreverent and fresh-faced, and I just thought she was like the loveliest little darling. And now in time, as I start to see her, since then, in more and more promotions and in films, it's like I can see the light in her eyes is starting to go out. Let's explore what her energy had shared with me and why that might in fact be the case. So Anya Taylor-Joy, let me try that again. Anya Taylor-Joy's mind has been so fractured and fried, she doesn't even know herself half the time. The amount of MK Ultra done to her, with the promise of her being the next big thing, is staggering. She wanted to be the next Margot Robbie and have a career projection like Margot's. And the words being said were all, yeah, sure. But the look on in everyone's eyes told a different story. But she was being so rushed to just make up her mind and sign here. And she really just needed a moment to think and to breathe and to decide. But they kept pressuring her and it had to be done now. And it felt like time was speeding up, or she was on a train speeding up to its next destination. And then all of a sudden there was drugs, so much fucking drugs. And she would do it, and then they would all have sex, and her head always hurt. This is what was shown to me. Like, imagine being in your body, being in a conference room, one moment, being signed, like pressure to just sign right here, and then like the next thing you know, you're on drugs all the time, and your head always hurts, and you're always having sex. So yeah, the light went out of her eyes. And now she doesn't know who she is or where she is half the time. And she really wishes she could just stop doing the drugs, but she can't. And she can't remember why either. She knows there was a reason they told her, but the memory of it is just out of her reach. In fact, most things are. All she knows is who she is in the movie she's playing, the lines she's saying, and who she is supposed to be on the red carpet. Everything else outside of that is hazy, including who I am and why I'm there. So she asks me, who am I again? What do I want to know again? And have I spoken to her manager? Because she's really not meant to talk to anyone without speaking to them first. So bye. That is what I have for you on Anya Taylor-Joy. Any questions, please do let me know down below. This next one is going to get his own standalone video, so I'm gonna skip him. She's actually, sorry, I gotta skip some pages. And if you wanna know who I'm skipping Sir Richard Branson. He's gonna get his own standalone members video. I'm skipping Barbara Walters because she's had a lot of pages, so she's gonna get her own video. Now, the next one I can share with you is an actor by the name of Hayden Christensen. Now, Hayden Christensen is a Canadian actor, and he was with an actress by the name of Rachel Bilson from, I believe I had read 2007 until 2017. I think they have one child together. Let's see what his energy wanted to share with me. Hayden Christensen is surprisingly shrewd, as in very, very gifted. Because behind every shrewd person is most likely a highly gifted one. He is fantastically claircognizant, which makes him so shrewd. But he doesn't know he's gifted or that he has extrasensory perceptions because he thinks this is just the way his mind works. But it's not. It's not just the way your mind works, Hayden Christensen. It's because, in fact, his crown chakra is blown wide the fuck open. And he is the epitome of someone that just knows things about people without knowing how he knows it. Now, this is where I'm going to pause and I'm going to say, if you do not know what claircognizance is, it is the gift of clear knowledge. It is where somebody will just know things, and it doesn't necessarily have to be about other people, but it can be, and it can also be knowing the way that things work without, like knowing the way a clock works without seeing it being taken apart, so you can actually see all the gear shifters move around. So claircognizance is the gift of clear knowledge, clear knowing, without having the evidence or the understanding of how it is that this person comes to know things. It is, in fact, an extrasensory perception and a gift and ability that some or maybe even most of us have in varying degrees. So he is hella fucking gifted because his crown chakra is blown wide the fuck open, and he is the epitome of someone that just knows things about other people without knowing how he knows it. But what also makes him shrewd is not just the knowledge of it, but it's because he doesn't share it. So he doesn't talk about it, and he doesn't talk about how he knows what he knows or why he is in fact so observant. He keeps it to himself, and he takes what he knows through his claircognizance and then uses that to look for supporting three-dimensional evidence to support it. So he'll look at somebody's body language, their facial expressions, their eyes, their verbal language, etc. So he has trained himself to be good at reading people too. So he has the claircognizance, but he also is incredibly gifted at having the ability to read people because in his claircognizance, he said, I'm going to look for the evidence to support how it is that I know what I know. Now, he was shown to me as being somebody that would be one hell of a spy or intelligence agent because of his gifts and his natural ability to keep his mouth shut and his truth-seeking abilities. But here's the thing, because he is in fact so gifted, he would see past all of the bureaucratic BS, and he would also be able to teach the teachers that are teaching the agents a thing or two. He also shared with me he has I can talk, I promise. He has a hard time being in the industry. And that when he was younger and finding himself, it was something he threw himself into, like he was trying different versions of himself on. But now that he is older and he is more settled in himself, the industry doesn't do it for him the same way anymore. He thinks about writing, or maybe in fact one day farming. But the more he accepts his gifts, the harder it is for him to be in the world as it currently is. And I know there's a lot of us that can relate to that. So that is what I have for you on the actor Hayden Christensen. Any questions, please do let me know down below. Now this next one, okay, he won't get a mini. It's short enough. This next one is on the fashion designer Marc Jacobs. And let's see what his energy wanted to share with me. So Marc Jacobs, even from a younger age, loved to draw. And he always thought women were just exquisite. We are, but he knew it. He recognized it, even as a wee little one. Now this is unusual for a little boy, true. But it's because it was a carryover from previous lifetimes. Because anyone that comes in and they're highly fucking gifted, or they come in with specific skill sets and abilities, and it's like, how do you know to do the things that you can do? It's a carryover from a past lifetime. He was a dandy, a lover, sometimes like an actual physical lover, as in would make love to women, but he was also a lover. Literally, he loves women. And he was also an artist. So combine all of those things together and you get someone that came into this life with the ingredients to create a fashion designer. The love of women and their bodies, and creative and artistic abilities. So fashion for him is as essential as air. Like, imagine how we would say first thing in the morning, but first coffee. So first thing upon waking, what Marc Jacobs' experience usually is he would see the way the sun is entering through the window shades in the kitchen on the way to make his coffee. And he would feel inspired to create something based on the shadows that he saw. So his mantra would or could in fact be, but first design. And to design, he just looked around the world and saw creativity everywhere. Absolutely fucking everywhere. A ladybug, a shadow on the wall, a street lamp, a fucking puddle. I wrote fucking, so I'm adding it. It's gratuitous, I know. But a fucking puddle, and the way the reflection of the clouds in the sky overhead would pass through it. He is the epitome of someone that stops and smells the roses, but about absolutely everything. And it was shown to me that he lives his life a bit like he's high, but it's natural. He doesn't need to do drugs to get high. He is cut from a different cloth. Yes, pun included. You guys are rubbing off on me. Some of you guys are so punny with the puns, and now I'm starting to become punny with the puns. The puns are punning. So in case we're wondering if he's in the club, first I'm going to share with you, after I had looked into him, he's worth an estimated $200 million. Now we, in our exploration, may know of other people that are worth more or less, and they could be, or they might not be. So are we wondering if he's in the club? This is what was shown to me. The answer is yes, of course. But it comes with a caveat. But for him, he saw it as a lifeline to give him the ability to keep doing what he loved. He acknowledges he has dressed many famous women. He is friends with some as well, but he didn't join for that. He joined so he could just keep doing what he loved, for without it, life would be a little death upon itself, and certainly not one he had any interest in fact living. So that is what I have for you on Marc Jacobs. Any questions, please do let me know down below. Now, this next one that I was asked to look into is an actor by the name of Liam Neeson. Let's see what his energy wanted to share with me. Liam Neeson is stoic, really stoic. So he's kind of what you would say about a woman having a resting bitch face, but On him, it's what he experiences inside and out. Resting stoic face. But it's not just stoic face, it's stoic emotions as well. So for him, going into acting had nothing to do with the fame or the money. None of it. It was, in fact, all because through acting, he hoped to learn more about himself and the lack of access he had to his own emotions that he sometimes felt. So kind of like somebody studying psychology so they could come to understand themselves a little bit better. This is what Liam did with acting. If he could portray an emotion, then surely he could feel an emotion, right? Truth is, not so much. But he was a good enough actor that it didn't negatively affect his life, except from the deep frustration he always felt at not being able to feel. At least feel anything other than his frustration. It's like emotions to him were just outside of his grasp, and sometimes he got a glimpse of it. Like when his sons were born and the fondness he felt for them, and he could see how others could experience love, but not him. And maybe that's all well and good because it protected him when Natasha crossed over. So if you don't know, he was married to a woman, I forget her last name. Of course I do. An actress by the name of Natasha somebody. And this is such a freaky thing. I remember this. I remember reading about it, even though I don't remember her name. She had gone skiing and she had fallen and hit her head, and she was perfectly okay for a couple of hours. And then she slipped into a coma, and then she was considered to be medically brain dead. And the family had chosen to unplug the life support on her. And it's this weird phenomenon called talking unalive or something like that. It's where somebody's okay for a couple of hours after hitting their head, and then the next thing you know, they're just gone 1 minute, here 1 minute, gone the next. It's the weirdest phenomenon. So his wife, Natasha, had crossed over after this freak accident where she hit her head, and then a couple of days later, she was gone. So he was sharing that maybe that's all well and good, his lack of ability to connect to his emotions, because it had protected him when Natasha had crossed over. But there is definitely a hole left where she would have been, because he shared with me she filled him up in ways he didn't know was possible. They had a family, and they were a unit, and they were a team. And that was more than he ever could have hoped for after seeing his own parents and their relational dysfunction. So he never understood, after seeing his parents and their dysfunction, how a truly good woman would want him. But Natasha did. And he did start to unlock his heart and feel with her, but only to have her taken away by the cruel hands of fate. So he's learned to lock it all up again and act, because it's all he has left, and all he has left to learn about himself again as well. That is what I have for you on Liam Neeson. Any questions, please do let me know down below. Now, the next people I was asked to look into is an actress by the name of Katherine Zeeta Jones and her husband, Michael Douglas. Michael Douglas, I believe, is significantly older than Katherine. I think about 20 or 25 years older. Let's see what their energy wanted to share with me. I need to brace myself for this. Katherine Zeeta Jones and Michael what people choose to share with me, I tell you, being an energy reader will never get old. Katherine Zeeta Jones and Michael Douglas were into some raunchy shit. And not only were they into it, they were incredibly proud of it. Very proud of it. And they shared with me the fact that they were both swingers and how many other couples they had fucked around with and what they had in fact done. Now, swingers, in case you're not familiar with it, it's where two people are married, but they are in a non-monogamous marriage where they, I think, how does it differ from an open marriage? An open marriage is, let's say two people are married. She can have her side thing, he can have his side thing. Swingers, I think, are in fact couples where they trade partners with another couple. So it's couple swapping, basically. I think that's my understanding of it. Don't quote me on that. So they were very proud of the fact that they were swingers and how many other couples they had fucked around with and what they did. They were actually, in fact, so very proud of it that I had to mentally shield myself by what they were trying to bring in and show me, because I tell you already how proud they were of it. They were so fucking proud of it. It's like, hey, we want to show this to you. And it's like, thank you. Boundaries are a good thing, friends. Boundaries are a good thing, friends. Especially, they were so proud of it and wanted to practically jam it the fuck down my throat. Especially because now Michael is older and he doesn't have the energy, stamina, or drive like he used to. And because Katherine is just not as pretty as she used to be, and she knows it. Now, this is not me passing judgment on her or throwing pretty shade at her. This is her acknowledging it as a point of fact. This is what Katherine shared with me. I ain't throwing no shade at anybody over here. She shared with me she's just not as pretty as she used to be, and she knows it. So there's that. But they have the memories of the good times they had and the good times they wanted to share. But they have those memories, and that is something, because without it, there's not a whole lot going on between them. They're both being on the same page sexually was really the glue in their relationship. And without it, they are two cordial ships passing each other in the night. That is what I have for you. Katherine Zeta-Jones and Michael Douglas. Any questions or comments, please do let me know down below. Now, I'm going to skip some more pages because this is one of the topics that's going to get their own video. This is on Jessica Biel and Justin Timberlake. Don't worry if you yourself voted for them and you wanted them to be this week's video. They will see the sun another day. Now, the next topic I was asked to look into is on a person by the name of John Cena. I think he used to be a wrestler. Now he's an actor, and I don't know what the fuck other thing he's doing right now. It seems as if he's making a fucking fool of himself out on the world stage. Let's explore why that might be the case. And I'm going to be kind of explicit in this, what had come in. And the reason for that is that, first and foremost, if you guys don't yet know, the information that comes in is not mine to take liberties with. Hence, I use a notebook. Could you imagine me like freestyling this? I mean, even though I want to freestyle an AMA, like a live stream AMA, like just give me questions and I'll just go for it. However, this is not that. So this is all where I have channeled the information. How the fuck would I ever be able to retain it and do a long ass AMA with it? I wouldn't. So because the information is not mine to take liberties with, I use a notebook. So I'm gonna be kind of explicit, whatever the word is with it, because that's the way it came in, and it really proves a point into the energy of John Cena. So if you're not okay with implicit or explicit dialogue, you may not want to watch this segment, okay? But if you are, stick around. So let's see what John Cena's energy wanted to share with me. John Cena does not have a big dick, and he knows it. And a lot of what he has done professionally was to try to compensate for it. Because I wouldn't know this, I don't have one, but this is again the information that came in, because big dick energy has nothing it has to prove. The proof just is. But not for John, it isn't. So he became a wrestler because surely that's macho and masculine. And everything we see of his representation today comes from a lack of masculine energy and virility and his desire to just fit in. Will he, because my H looked a little bit like a W, will he continue to debase himself? Abso-fucking-lutely. He will do anything and everything anyone asks of him if it means he will continue to be accepted. But what he doesn't know is that he is not, in fact, respected. He might be accepted, being kind of brought into the folds of the club, but he is not, in fact, respected because he is just another toy. He is a plaything to alleviate the boredom and to see just how far he is willing to go before he breaks. Spoiler alert, it's far. Very fucking far. As in, how far will he go before he breaks? Very fucking far. But the distance of what is being asked of him is not, in fact, what will break him. Nope. But what will break him is finding out that he was not ever accepted, nor was he loved by any of them in the industry above him, but was just one of the many toys used to distract him from their incurable boredom and the madness of seeing just another broken bird with daddy issues looking to get on the other side of it by making it in Hollywood. Because surely once you do make it in Hollywood and all the world loves you, then surely your daddy will too. That's the rationale. So to them, John Cena isn't special, but they'll keep him around for a time because of the adoration he has in his eyes for them. And because he thinks they're going to make him a star. And once he makes it, it won't matter how big or how little his dick is. And who didn't give him enough love when he was younger, or how little he loves himself. Because he will be a star. And he clings to that every day, with every new level of debasement he faces and the belief that it will all be worth it. That is what I have for you on John Cena. Any questions or comments, please do let me know. The next person who I'm not sharing in this one because he's going to get his own mini standalone energy read video is Jordan Peterson. I'm going to skip some more pages because that's the video I had done on Lance Armstrong. All right, this next one is a really shorty boy. But instead of making it seem as if I have not looked into somebody and wondering if I'm ever going to look into them or their energy is going to come in, I have turned over a new leaf and I have decided, even if what comes in is one line, I'm going to share it with you. That's the case for this next one. The next person whose energy I was asked to look into is the actor Phillip Seymour Hoffman. His energy refused to come into me. I tried though, guys, I tried. So that is what I have or don't have for you on Phillip Seymour Hoffman. Now, this next one I was asked to look into is somebody by the name of Mike Tyson, who is a former boxer. He's actually a really interesting one. So let's see what his energy wanted to share with me. Mike Tyson is wicked funny. And according to his own self-reporting, just stupid enough to be dangerous, or conversely, just smart enough to actually be smart. And that's been his saving grace. In some ways, he feels like he was directed to box, or he fell into it, but also in some ways he recognizes it could in fact all be divine. Because that part of himself that's smart enough to recognize he's not really smart enough overall, recognized he wasn't smart enough to be anything other than what he is. So thanks to God for the boxing, because it's given him a pretty good life, and one way better than he could have imagined for himself. Now, his energy is remarkably candid, and he is rather self-aware as well, which is in fact, as an energy reader, refreshing. But also, there's a certain lucidity of thought that he himself has. So his mental facilities have not been compromised by boxing, or I can also say, he might have been even more self-aware and intelligent before. But I somehow doubt that. And again, that's not me making judgment about his intelligence or smart shaming him. It's just a statement on the analysis of his energy. So while my interaction with him was brief, it was also rather enjoyable. So that is what I have for you on Mike Tyson. Any questions, please do let me know, and I will now be moving on. So, and then, again, this next one is short, very short. I was asked to look into the energy on the band The Bee Gees, and this is what was shown to me. Again, what people choose to share with me. The Bee Gees really fucked a lot. Did some drugs and made some great music, and collectively, that's all they wanted to share. That's what I have for you on the Bee Gees. The next one I was asked to look into, also a shorty boy, was on a singer by the name of Julio Iglesias. And he had thanked me for my interest, and the interest of those that had requested me to connect to his energy, but said in no uncertain terms that he is not interested in speaking with me, and he will not ever be either. So that's what I have for you on the Bee Gees and Julio Iglesias. Any questions, please do let me know. I gotta skip some pages because I had channeled the fashion designer Calvin Klein, and that was our latest members video. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. So if you're interested in joining my membership, there's a link down below in the description box. You will get access to that, and I think at this point, like, we're close to 50 other videos. That's all exclusive content. It's next level, y'all. It's next level. Now, the next topic I was asked to look into, again a short one, is an actress by the name of Mischa Barton. I think, don't quote me on this, Mischa Barton had her start, or maybe this was when I just became aware of her, was in a TV show called, I think, like The OC or something like that. Great ensemble, little cast. It was so fun. It was so irreverent. Let's see what Mischa's energy wanted to share with me. Mischa shared with me she was raised in the club, had some horrific things done to her, which unfortunately she remembers, and she self-reports that she had lost her mind because of it. So here we go. Now that we all know that, she requests that we please leave her alone. So I respect that, and I do. That is what I have for you on Mischa Barton. Any questions, let me know down below. I'm going to skip some more pages because this is going to be another of its own freestanding video, the energy on actress Sophie Turner and Joe Jonas. All right, here we go. The next person I was asked to look into is an actor by the name of Jason Bateman. Honestly, I'm not that familiar with his work as an actor. I think he had done like a really fucking funny show years ago that I, of course, don't remember the name of it, but I think it was like all improv or something. It was really, really fucking funny. Take my word for it, even though I can't tell you what it was. But let's see what Jason Bateman's energy wanted to share with me. Jason Bateman has a bit of a sense of entitlement. It's not terrible, but it's just enough that people around him notice it, whether they know him or not. So for an example, he may be waiting to go through security at the airport, he has no problem or sense of shame in just pushing ahead and cutting the line and getting to the head of security because he has a flight to catch. Dude, you're in an airport. You're not the only one that has a flight to catch. Or slightly pushing ahead at the craft service table on set because he is a bigger actor than the other ones. So it's kind of a version of environmental blindness that he himself has. But he has it because it stems from him being an actor and him being treated different. But it's also very different to be, what the fuck did I write here? It stems from being an actor and being treated different. But it's very different to be treated differently on set. I get what I was writing here. It's different to be treated differently on set than it is in your real life when you are not an actor. So for him, he doesn't see the delineation between his job and his career as an actor and being treated differently on set because of it. So it's kind of bled over into all aspects of his life where he has this self-important attitude. It was also shown to me that he is not a great tipper. As in, he goes to a restaurant, he doesn't leave good tips. Because he is a bit out of touch with common everyday people. But despite this, he was not shown to me as being completely intolerable. He is funny, but maybe that's about it. So that's what I have for you on Jason Bateman. Any questions, please do let me know down below. Now, this next one, I'm just going to share and I'll let you come to your own conclusion about her. I'm going to stop saying if I like their energy or not, God damn it. This next one is an actress I was asked to look into by the name of Jodie Foster. Let's see what her energy wanted to share with me. Jodie Foster at times can be intolerable. Do I need to share my opinion? No, her energy just shared it for me. She knows it, but it's, according to her, not her fault. At least that's what she tells herself. And it's because she's a product of her childhood, which was rather fucked up. According to her, she was pushed into acting, but she was pushed into acting so much so that it wasn't really a choice. It wasn't like, hey, you're really a good actress, why don't we see if we could finagle something? It was like, yo, Jodie, you're gonna be an actress. So it wasn't really a choice for her. So already I'm starting to learn this is somebody that cannot enforce boundaries. Second, she was exposed to adult themes that she was nowhere close to ready to see, both at home and on set. But whereas at home she only saw it, on set she was invited to be part of it. And if she didn't acquiesce, sometimes they took her by force and they forced her to be part of it. So she has developed a rather frigid nature in response to these things, and she has never felt safe around men. Now this is where I will add 2% personal opinion. If you've ever seen her do an interview, or even in a lot of her acting, she seems a bit frigid. By her own self-reporting, she developed a frigidity because of it. Because she never felt safe around men. Not to go out for lunch with them, not as an agent, really only begrudgingly as a director and in having male co-stars, but she was never warm to them, or she was never warm when she was around them. Women were by far a safer option for her because she felt anyway, she couldn't really be overpowered by them, so she turned to them for sexual gratification and just stayed there. She was shown to me as being a true product of her environment and how it shaped and molded her. Now, she did share with me, she doesn't particularly like the Hollywood industry, and she, in fact, kind of looks down her nose at it. And she looks down her nose at the other actors as well. There is no level of respect that she feels for them or would extend towards them. The only reason she was in the industry as long as she was, that she has been, is because of the money. And as far as she knows, there is no other job that would pay her as well as being an actress has paid her. And she sees nothing wrong with being in an industry that she hates and working with people she mostly finds to be intolerable, and feels in some twisted way she is owed the ridiculously large paycheck she gets just for putting up with them at all. She too is a wee bit out of touch with reality in that her attitude towards the industry. Because she has a bit of a victim complex and she does not seek to empower herself, but rather chooses to complain about it and complain about her work and her job, but she's still remaining in it. And as I always say, or if you don't know that I say it, you certainly will now, you can only complain if you are willing to make a different choice or to make a change in your life. But my philosophy is there's no complaining if you refuse to choose something else. But she really gladly gets into this subtle and passive-aggressive energy because despite her having opportunities few could even dream of having, and an extremely well-paying job to boot, somehow she still and forever will perpetually be a victim in her own mind. So that is what I have for you on Jodie Foster. Any questions, please do let me know down below. Now this next one is gonna get her own freestanding video, even if it's gonna be on the shorter side. This is Madame Coco Chanel. She finally agreed to come in with me. Praise be, y'all, praise be. So the next one I was asked to look into is an actor by the name of Brandon Lee. Now Brandon Lee crossed over, oh actually you know what, hold on. Sorry y'all, false alarm. Brandon's gonna get his own standalone mini energy read video because he's a little long and time is of the essence, so I gotta keep going. It'll be worth it. It will be worth it, I assure you of that. So really, genuinely and truly, the next one I was asked to look into that I can share with you is an actor by the name of Sam Neill. This is a shorty boy. Let's see what Sam's energy wanted to share with me. Sam Neill is smart enough to keep his head down. So he can keep it down, so he can keep it at all. As in, I'm gonna keep my head down, I'm not gonna see what I'm supposed to see, I'm not gonna say what I'm not supposed to say, because in essence, he likes to keep his head where it is. So even though he knows what goes on, is not involved in any of it, he still refuses to speak about it with me either. That is what I have for you on Sam Neill. Any questions, please do let me know down below. Next one, also very short. I was asked to look into the actress Lucy Liu. Let's see what her energy wanted to share with me. Lucy Liu is kind of a bit similar to the energy of Sam Neill in that she knows what goes on. This is her sharing this with me. She considers herself to be a lower level actress. Not to say she hasn't had success, not to say she hasn't been in TV, not to say she hasn't been in movies. According to herself and her understanding of the industry, she considers herself to be lower level. She is a lower level star. And she is mostly kept for diversification purposes and as a front to the industry. So while yes, she knows what goes on, no. She was not asked to join the club, and she has no interest in speaking about it either. That is what I have for you on Madame Lucy Liu. Any questions, please do let me know down below. Now, this next one I was asked to look into is an actor by the name of Adrian. I'm not sure if I'm going to pronounce his name correctly. Don't come at me if you're an Agent Smith. I think his last name is Grenier. I'm not sure. Greiner. I'm just an American. I don't know the nuances of like how to pronounce last names that can be an origin from another country. I would say if it's Grenier, maybe it's French. I don't really know. And he is most known for, what's the name of that show? He had been in an HBO show that was roughly based, I know the history behind it. I can't tell you the name of the damn show. It was loosely based on Mark Wahlberg's experience when he had joined Hollywood and him having his friends kind of in it. Loosely based on that. Can't for the life of me remember the name of the show though. But I'm sure we've all seen it. Anyway, let's see what Adrian's energy wanted to share with me. Adrian had a good enough career in the industry. He also had a good enough look at what it was all about, as in behind the scenes. What it was really all about and more. And the lack of meaning and value it really had, and it felt to him like something was missing. So he was shown to me as having done some sort of a self-improvement program, some seminar of some sort, and it had cracked him wide open. But the reason that he had done it was to see if maybe it would make him a better actor or if it could connect him back to himself. To the part that once upon a time really wanted to be an actor, because he was kind of at the point he was starting to question it. So he had gone hoping maybe it would make him a better actor or connect him back to why he had wanted to be one in the first place, but it had in fact cracked him wide open instead. Truly, he felt like a coconut with all this incredible juiciness he could share with the world to help nurture the world. But it was all stuck inside of him. Then the seminar happened and he was plucked from the tree, the coconut tree, cracked open, and all his goodness can now be shared with the world. So acting is not really his thing, not anymore anyway. But being of service and sharing his gifts, sign him up for that shit. So that is what I have for you on Adrian Grenier, however you pronounce his name. Any questions, please do let me know down below. Now, this next one I was asked to look into is, I gotta pick up the pace, like really pick up the pace. I think I can make this. Okay. This next one I was asked to look into is an actress by the name of Helen Hunt. She was on TV for a bunch of years on some very popular sitcom. Can't remember for the life of me what it's called. Of course I can't. Let's see what Helen Hunt's energy wanted to share with me. Helen Hunt really wants everyone to know she is not in the club. And she had me underline it so I can emphasize to you she is not in the club. Because first off, she knows if she was in the club, it will call into question if her career and her achievements were earned. And if they were earned because of her merits or because of her affiliation. And she wants us all to know it's not. She has no affiliation other than being in the same industry as many who are. She was kept around because of her actual acting talent and is a good front to the acting part of the industry. Also, what was shown to me is that her energy is a bit dense. Kind of, look at it this way for my friends that are into astrology, a natal chart where everything is in Capricorn. So her energy is not one that they wanted to necessarily play with. But she was useful, so she was let in. She is grateful for her time in Hollywood and wants us to know that not everything in it is bad. That is what I have for you on Helen Hunt. Any questions, please do let me know down below. This next one I was asked to look into is a singer by the name of Alicia Keys and her husband, who I think goes by Swiss Beats. Let's see what their energy wanted to share with me. Alicia Keys was once upon a time into some freaky shit, by her own admission. but you'd never know it by her crafted persona in the industry because it's all by design. We saw her sitting at a piano and soulfully playing the piano and singing, so therefore when we look at her, we think, that's her. That's Alicia Keys, but in fact, it's nowhere near the real her. But that was another life, another version of herself before Swiss. He grounded her and he rooted her back into her body and back into her senses. Now, I'm not going to share with you what I had seen her doing, but it was fucking gnarly. And it didn't necessarily only have to do with allowing herself to be inhabited. It had to do with the exchange of bodily fluids. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Use your imagination. I'm sure you can get creative. Now, Swiss was shown to me as being no angel, but rather a very savvy businessman. Now, this is also not an indication that Alicia Keys and Swiss Beats are Jay-Z and Beyonce 2.0. Yes, I have done a video on them, link down below if you want to go back and watch it and see what is the relational dynamic that I speak of. They are not a them. Because, first of all, Alicia is no Beyonce and Swiss is no Jay either. And their relationship does not function like theirs. What they have, what Swiss Beats and Alicia Keys have, is real love and mutual respect. And Swiss did not look at Alicia and see dollar signs and think how he could craft her image to best monetize her. Rather, he looked at her and thought, how can I give her more and a better quality of life and heal her so that she no longer feels the need to do those things that she used to do? So it's kind of the difference when a man is in his divine masculine energy versus when he's not. And Swiss is in his divine masculine energy. Now, it was shown to me that he has also made some good investments and he was able to parlay that towards some other ones. And that he has shown himself to be somebody that can make them money, as in the industry. So that in turn was used to free Alicia in some way, but only free her on some sort of a level, because one is never entirely free from the club until they say they're done with you. And so far, they have not said that about Alicia Keys yet. But if you've seen her maybe kind of taking a step back, it's because his money, it's kind of like, look at it this way. Let's say I'm reading a whole bunch of books right now where this is actually going on, so it's the first example I'm going to use. Let's say there's somebody that has been working in servitude, and their master that bought them at a slave trade had said to them, if you can pay me back for what I paid for you and interest, you can be free. So look at it this way. Swiss Beats has started working towards freeing her from her servitude. Is she entirely free? No, it just means that maybe she's going to have a slightly better quality of life. But when they come calling, she still has to answer the call. Because you don't ever fully get out of the club until they tell you they're done with you. And then you don't get any notice and you end up being like a fucking John of God or a fucking Harvey Weinstein. So that is what I have for you on Alicia Keys and Swiss Beats. Any questions, please do let me know down below. Now, this next one I was asked to look into is a shorty boy. I was asked to look into the actor Steve Martin. Let's see what his energy wanted to share with me. Steve Martin remembers the good old days, when movies were just movies and not everything was so politicized. But he acknowledges those days can't come to the phone right now because they're no longer alive. Now, this is a reference to a Taylor Swift song, so when he said this to me, he winked at me. I think he's trying to make himself relevant to pop culture, if I had to guess. I ask if there's anything else he wants to share, and he says, Woody Allen is into some kink, and while Mia Farrow is absolutely lovely, she's pretty damn neurotic as well. I tell you, the things that people choose to share with me. Go figure. That's what I have for you on Steve Martin. Any questions, please do let me know down below. Now, the reason I said Steve Ryder is because the next person I was asked to look into is Winona Ryder, and I was already planning on sharing this with you, so I mishmashed the two of them together. So yes, I was in fact asked to look into an actress by the name of Winona Ryder. She's been in a whole bunch of shit. Not literal, like some of it was been good shit. You know, there's a difference between shit, like you're in shit, and like good shit. So she's been in some good shit. I don't mean any disrespect, Winona. But let's see what her energy wanted to share with me. Winona Ryder cannot believe she got roped back into the industry. Because she was out of it for a hot fucking minute there, and then suddenly the next thing we know, she's like back in it again. She thought she made a clean break and got out, but like the ghost of Christmas past, it's back to haunt her. Or maybe she's back to haunt it. Because that's the thing about Hollywood. It can pay way more money than any other industry, and that's nice. And they're also pretty welcoming to people like her. And what does she consider a like her? It's the artsy girls who never felt they belonged. And the attention that they would receive at times can be overwhelming. But being in the industry, while being overwhelming, it can also kind of be nice at times, even for an introverted hermit like her. And it's true, she did get used to a certain lifestyle, and she also hoped she had evolved past the point of being attached to it, but nope. Hollywood just pays well, and she needed an infusion of money into her life, and there was a role for her, so that was that. But the befuddled face she has made, because there's been memes made of her, like she's at an award show and she's making like these confused faces, or like she's up on stage because her show just won an award and she looks like, where am I and who are these people? The befuddled face she has been making, that's genuine. Because she shared with me, she is genuinely befuddled at how the industry has changed and who all these new faces are. The whole thing is all just a little bizarre to her. Now, this is the point where, because when I look into somebody's energy, sometimes I also ask about things that I want to know. So I had asked her about her relationship with Johnny Depp. And when I did, her whole demeanor softened. And she tells me words don't really do him justice as a person or as an actor. He is, according to her, one of the most artistic and brilliant men she has ever met. And she really loved their time together. But at a certain point, they dated on and off for years, but at a certain point it became evident he was too deeply wounded. She loved him and he her, but theirs was not a love meant to last a lifetime. But while they had it, they loved enough for a lifetime. So that is what I have for you on Winona Ryder, and maybe a little bit on her relationship with Johnny Depp. Any questions, please do let me know down below. This next one, I'm only gonna share if we have time. Actually, no, I'm not, I lied. He's gonna get his own standalone mini energy read. I'm talking about Samuel L. Jackson. He's getting his own video. So, I gotta skip some more pages because the next one I was asked to look into is Ben Affleck and J Lo. They are also getting their own standalone video. Guys, I'm just telling you the next few videos are gonna be absolute fucking fire. This next one I can in fact share with you is an actor and former politician by the name of Arnold Schwarzenegger. He, I think, is German. He was a former bodybuilder and he parlayed that into an actor. He's, I think, most well known, one could argue, for playing the Terminator. And he also served, I forget as what, as some sort of politician in the wonderful state that I live in, California. Let's see what Arnold's energy wanted to share with me. Arnold feels like his life was a series of events when he was in the right place at the right time. So, lucky, essentially. Not necessarily that his life was easy or things came easily to him, because he did work very hard to get his body in shape, and he did work very hard to learn proper English and to assimilate himself into the American culture, but that his life, I'm all over the place today, but that his hard work paid off and led to more opportunities he ever could have anticipated. So even though he's not the smartest son of a bitch around, and he referred to himself as SOB. I remind you, I don't take liberties with what the information people choose to share with me. So even though he's not the smartest SOB around, he sure as hell is the luckiest. And for now, that feels like enough. That is what I have for you on Arnold Schwarzenegger. Any questions, please do let me know down below. Now, this next one I was asked to look into is an actor by the name of Adam Driver. Really don't know that much about him. He starred in, or when I first came to know him, he was in a TV show called, I think, like The Girls. And it was like the millennial generation's TV version of Sex and the City. And it was basically like a bunch of girls living broke in like Williamsburg. And again, as I first came to know him, I think he played what's-her-name's boyfriend in the series. I'm so helpful, what's her name? So let's see what Adam's energy wanted to share with me. Adam Driver still can't believe he's an actor, and he made it. And he's not even a little ashamed to say he's had several pinch me moments since becoming an actor. Not as in he became an actor, pinch me, I'm acting in my school play. As in an actor that's on TV and now in movies. Accentuated by the universe. He knew he wasn't the best looking. Again, self-reporting. He knew he wasn't the best looking, so he always thought he had that against him. He was a little scruffy and rough. I promise I know how to enunciate. Let's try this again, Faye. He was a little scruffy and rough around the edges, but man, could he act. And he knew he could. He knew it's not because of the feedback and response around him, though of course that helped. But he just felt so alive when he did it. He felt renewed and like he was just living his purpose, his only purpose when he was acting. The colors were brighter, the air was crisper, his mind was sharper, and like he could just pull the character into himself from who knows where. Like he was the conduit for the character to come in, and he loved it. So he's a channel of some sort. Like how I channel the information, he channels actors. And every time he was cast, he still couldn't believe it. It didn't feel real, and in some ways, it still doesn't. Except for all that goes into making a leading man. Because now, he's not just an actor, he really worked his way up. And along with it are the haircuts, because those became more and more expensive. And now he goes for facials. And he has had skin resurfacing. And he has a stylist. He has an assistant, an agent, a manager. So many people on speed dial and at all times. So the acting isn't really about acting anymore. What it's in fact about is networking. And most times, it's not even always about who is best for the role, but whose team worked harder to get them that particular role. I think this is going to explain why sometimes we'll see a movie that's made and we're like, how did that person get cast for this part? Like, they're so woefully inept for it. And it's like, when the actor wins an award, in large part, it doesn't belong exclusively to them and their acting, but to the whole team behind them. Kind of dancing around it. You kind of see where he's going with this, right? He still loves it, but the joy is a little more diluted as time goes by. He's lost roles he really wanted. He's passed down roles he was told he was perfect for, but at the end of the day, no one knows that for sure. And life goes on. Because the best actors aren't always awarded. They're made. And he's not sure if he'll ever be a made man. That is what I have for you on Adam Driver. Is that his name? Adam Driver. Any questions, please do let me know down below. Now, this next one I was asked to look into is interesting. Did I even write what he's known for? Oh shit, I didn't even write when he was alive. Let me just tell you who he is, and then I'll tell you what I remember anecdotally about him. I was asked to look into someone by the name of Sun Tzu. I think that's how you pronounce it. T-Z-U. Sun Tzu. He is, I think, most well known for writing a book called The Art of War. Now, he's kind of an interesting one. I think he was actually alive in like the 1400s. He was, I want to say, a Chinese general and a philosopher. I think that's what I had remembered reading about him. Although Lord knows I didn't write that part down. I don't know why I didn't write that down, but I didn't write it down. All right, life moves on. So I am going to share what had come in on the energy of somebody by the name of Sun Tzu. So Sun Tzu was rather elevated in his mindset. He had a great intellect, but more than that, he had a spiritual awakening, or he had experienced an ego unaliving. And the combination of all three, mind, intellect, and ego unaliving, produced his particular philosophy. He was also shown to me as having a mind that worked like, this is going to sound so weird, I'm going to explain it. But he was shown to me as having a mind that worked like a Mandela effect. Now, I have done a previous video on the Mandela effect of some other things as well. I will link it down below if you want to go back and if you want to watch it, or you want to refresh your memory on what a so-called Mandela effect is. But I will, if you don't want to, I'm just going to give you like a very brief visual representation, but I do a much better job explaining it into the full freestanding video. But the way a Mandela, so let's discuss A before we discuss B. What is a so-called Mandela effect? So the way it's being reported in the media and in the world at large is a mass public false memory. Maybe you've had a couple of these. So the most notable one, why is it called a Mandela effect, is because it was, I think, reported in like 1990 something that Nelson Mandela had crossed over while he was in prison. But then cut to a couple of years later, he's out of prison, he's very much alive, and he goes on to do great things. It's like, say what, guys, I gotta be completely candid with you. I remember seeing the news that said he was unalived. So it's like, I'm sorry now, how is he suddenly very alive and well? There's a whole bunch of other ones that are not quite as notable as that, like Fruit Loops. Was it spelled this way? Was it spelled that way? Fruit of the Looms? Did it have a cornucopia as the logo or not? Was it Jiffy or was it Jif? All of these other random examples. There's a couple of notable ones, Nelson Mandela being one of them. The second most notable one is that scene in Risky Business, I think it's called, where Tom Cruise slides out right? How do you guys remember it? Because I remember it, he's wearing sunglasses, he slides into the frame wearing like a button-down shirt and socks, and he slides the sunglasses off his face. But then it turns out, no. There was never any sunglasses. Riddle me this, Batman. If there was never any sunglasses, why is it everything that references it shows, if they're making fun of it or they're referencing it, it shows like they did this in The Simpsons, putting the sunglasses off the face. So what it's being presented to us as is a mass false memory. But in fact, what a Mandela effect was shown to me as, and this is where I'm going to create a visual representation for you. If you all know, what is the name of that record? The Dark Side of the Moon? What's on the record label or the record cover of The Dark Side of the Moon? This is a very rough drawing. Please forgive me for my lack of artistic abilities. Guys, I know what my skill set is. It's not art. It's seeing behind the veil. So what a Mandela effect was shown to me as is a pyramid shape. And light is coming in through the pyramid, but as the record cover of The Dark Side of the Moon had shown us, what comes out on the other side of the pyramid is all of these other colors and all of these other lines. So what was shown to me as a Mandela effect is, let's say, a crystal. And you can have, I'm not going to turn the camera around, my phone around. I have a crystal prism thingy hanging here. And when the sun comes in, it's creating all of these different reflections and colors onto the floor and onto the walls. And it does that because there's these cuts created in the crystal, so when the light comes in, it's distributed all around. So what a Mandela effect is was shown to me as, this is us. And all of these other lines and colors that are coming out of the pyramid are alternate realities. That's a Mandela effect. And sometimes we get a glimpse of being in an alternate reality. Just like the light coming through the crystal is going to be refracted into different colors. One crystal cut at different angle, the light comes in, it's dispersed in a whole bunch of different colors. So we, in our Mandela effect experiences, are actually seeing various different timelines that are playing out simultaneously. That's like a very rough explanation of what a Mandela effect is. So back to, what does this have to do with Sun Tzu, Faye? I'm getting there, I promise. So Sun Tzu was shown to me as having a mind that worked like a Mandela effect, in which he could see potential timelines that could play out. However, not potential outcomes, only potential timelines. So again, it's the difference between, let's say, being clairvoyant and seeing the potential of how something could turn out. He didn't see the potentiality of how something could turn out. He saw various potential future timelines, not potential outcomes. As in, he was not clairvoyant. Because again, clairvoyant, gift of clear seeing, you can see the potential outcomes. Not him. He could literally see timelines. So this combination with the ego death allowed him to think about what a potential future timeline might need. And he used his intellect and his philosophical approach. That, with the ego unaliving, was used to work in tandem with other people on the book that we now have today in our timeline, called The Art of War. Now, it was shown to me he's not an exclusive author of it. It's more like his philosophy was taken and adapted and used to turn into a book. So I'm not going to say that he actually penned it. I'm going to say maybe he was working as a mentor to someone, and the mentor actually applied his philosophy and his teachings, and he had turned it into a book. Now, because of Sun Tzu's ability to see the future and see future timelines, he could also see our day and our age and our people and our society and how we might happen to need such a book to help us with various pursuits. So it was done as an offering to future generations, but without the expectation of being alive to see it or to receive any accolades for it. But it was really done just for us. Now, because he was also a general and he had seen war and he had seen unaliving of many people and what it had done to the people that would survive, he wanted to share something that would combine his philosophy, his mindset, his war experience, and through the lens of the ego unaliving of himself, so it could help future people, as in us, because we have it in our timeline. Because duh, he could see what we would need. And that's why we have it. Now, his mind was also shown to me as being a bit of a puzzle with different pieces sliding into place at the time he needed it, and he had a remarkable ability to stay present and focus on a particular task. Now, he had such an interesting mind that all the different parts, he's more than, get it together, girl. I mean, it's over 2 hours. It's freaking hot in my apartment. I have the ring light shining on me. I only hydrated myself consciously once. Like, you know, real life over here. Let me try that again. He was shown to me as having a mind a bit like a puzzle with different pieces that could slide into place at the time that he would need it to, and then he could slide them away when he didn't need them. So when he didn't need that part of his mind, he could gently tuck it away for later. So truly, nothing would define him because he is so much more than the sum of his parts. He's more than a general. He's more than a philosopher. He's more than the interpretation of his philosophy that was applied and turned into a book. He was a very interesting person with a very lively mind, but an ability to tuck things away when he didn't need that particular thought vying for his attention. Now, some points that are most well known from the art of war that I really, in a quick Google search, I was like, what are the top main points in the art of war? So I really only picked out what I thought was of interest or particularly notable. It's of course not the fullness of the experience of the book. I share it with you nonetheless. This is what I found notable. Some fine points from the art of war. The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. Because again, he was a general. He had seen the cost of war and the devastation through unaliving of people. So to him, the supreme art of war, the most elevated vantage point of what a war is, to subdue the enemy without even fighting. Next point. All warfare is based on deception. Now again, ego unaliving and a very lively mind, so he's sharing it with the understanding it's all based on deception. But not being attached to it because he had an ego unaliving. Next most notable point that I found to be interesting, a leader leads by example, not force. So you want to know if you're being led, are they being a good example or are they ruling with an iron fist? Next, opportunities multiply as they are seized. And the last one I found to be interesting, I think this is the most well-known one, appear weak when you are strong. Because again, according to him, see points passing, all warfare is based on deception. So that is what I have for you on Sun Tzu. Any questions or comments, please do let me know down below. Now, this is something interesting that I decided to do. And I'm going to end with this, which is I have quick little hits, and like quick little energy hits that I received when looking into somebody's name that you guys have requested me to look into. And I may or may not return back to those names to do a full reading on them, but I thought, hey, why not? You guys are always asking me to look into people, and it might seem like, what the fuck, Faye, I'm never getting to them. So I wanted to show you that sometimes, or share with you rather, sometimes when I'm looking into somebody, I get little hits on them, but it's not enough that I can comprise into an entire segment in an AMA or even an entire segment of its own standalone video. But I make the effort. So I share with you, and you guys can let me know if you like this. When I conclude it, let me know if you would like me to do this for future AMAs as well. So again, this is quick little hits on names on my list when I have been asked to look into somebody that I may or may not go back to and look into them for a full reading in the future, but these are the quick little hits that I got on them. Here you go. So the first one is Ryan Seacrest. Ryan Seacrest is, I think he started off as a radio VJ, then he went on to host some singing competition, and he's fucking hella well known. Let's see what was shown to me briefly on him. Ryan Seacrest was raised in the club. He is still in it, and he owes all of his success to it. I'm also going to tell you his relationship with, what's her name? She's a dancer. She was on that dancing competition. They dated for a couple of years. Not a real relationship. Ryan Seacrest doesn't swing that way. He has no interest in women. He has interest in men. That was an industry relationship meant to make him look good and to whatever the fuck it did for her. Make her look like a more interesting and well-rounded character. The next one that I got a quick little hit on is an actor by the name of Kevin Nealon. What was shown to me is he is not actually all that funny, and he knows it. The next one I got a quick hit on is somebody by the name of Rob Schneider, also an actor. And what was shown to me about him is that he drank the juice. If you know, you know. He has remorse, and he is now trying to wake people up. Next person I got a quick little hit, actually not a person, is a band. A band by the name of the Backstreet Boys. Backstreet's back, all right. They were a composite group that made so much fucking money, and way, way, way more than what was actually reported. Next one I was asked to look into, and I got a quick little hit on, is somebody by the name of Pablo Escobar. He is a, I believe, Colombian drug lord. He has been unalived. What was shown to me about him is he was the quintessential example of 3D greed. Next one I was asked to look into, and I got a quick little hit on, is I think he's a performer, I think. His name is French Montana. What was shown to me about him, he has lost values and is a product of a narcissistic parent. And he is now perpetuating narcissistic standards and beliefs in a his need to be accepted by that parent. Will he be? No, that's not the way narcissism works. Next one I was asked to look into, and I got a quick little hit on, is the Getty family. I don't know why I said it that way. I'm trying to be all fancy and enunciate so clearly. The Getty family. What was shown to me about the Getty family, or Getty family, is that they have more money than they know what to do with. Old, multi-generational family, old money. And interestingly enough, so like seriously ancient money, and interestingly enough, what was also shown to me about them, and I might have to do a, return back to them, they have royal blood. Next one I was asked to look into, and that I got a quick little hit on, is an actress by the name of Sofia Vergara. Now, she was shown to me as being a functional but highly depressed. She keeps hoping that money will help her feel better, but it doesn't. And she was also shown to me as not trusting herself. Quick little hit, y'all. The next one I was asked to look into is an actor by the name of Matthew Broderick, who is married to Sarah Jessica Parker. What was shown to me is that he is hardworking, but he's also incredibly snide. Next one I love my guides. If you know, you know. You'll understand in a minute. The next one I was asked to look into that I got a quick little hit on is a comedian by the name of Amy Schumer. What had come in is pig DNA, and if you know, you know. I was asked to also look into Will Arnett. What came in for him, one word. Will Arnett, kinky. Next one I was asked to look into, also one word. I believe this is a singer by the name Ice Spice. The one word that came in on her, possessed. Also, if you know, you know. Or go back and watch the video I had done on the music industry or the video I have done on Beyonce and Jay-Z. Next one, also one word. I was asked to look into Danny Bonaducci. The word that came in, sellout. Ooh, the next one, also one word. I was asked to look into Lil Wayne. The word that came in, dishonest. I got a whole bunch of one-worders here. The next one I was asked to look into, I think this is maybe a comedian or an actor. His name is Bernie Mac. The word that came in for him, smelly. I'm sorry, this is what came in. I report, you decide. The next one that had come in is a couple of different people. I was asked to look into the energy on Megan Thee Stallion, her beef with Nicki Minaj and Jay-Z, and some sort of a Grammy controversy. Not sure, but I was asked to look into it. So what was shown to me about it, one word, can you guess? Staged, not real. The next one, also one word. I was asked to look into the actor Tom Hardy. The one word that came in on him, clever. Oh, the next one is two words. How nice. But they're two connected words. I was asked to look into a band by the name of Metallica. The two words that came in, self-righteous. Next one word. I was asked to look into the soccer player Lionel Messi. Anyone want to guess the one word that came in? I bet you can guess. Owned. I was also asked to look into the Anunnaki. This is, again, I'm going to remind you, quick little hits on what I got, not the full Monty. What had come in on the Anunnaki is elevated and advanced consciousness. Second to the last one I was at that I got a quick hit on is an actor by the name of Christopher Nolan. He's a director, a Hollywood director. Did I call him an actor? I'm sorry. Again, hot, sweaty, over 2 hours long. Restricted hydration, my own fault. I was asked to look into the director by the name of Christopher Nolan. What came in on him, again, I remind you, quick little hits, brilliant and gifted. And the last one, which will also conclude this AMA, I was asked to look into, I think he's an illusionist by the name of Chris Angel. What came in on him, fake. So you guys can let me know if you like these quick little hits that I'm getting on names. So first of all, you can get like a little teaser or a taste on the people that you have asked me to look into. And you also know, guys, I really do try, but sometimes the information that comes in is just not ample enough to create its own standalone video. That concludes this month's AMA. Please comment down below. Let me know if you enjoyed it. Let me know, if you like this little segment here, and just, say hi. That's all I ask, just say hi. I want so little in return. So that concludes this month's AMA. I'm gonna remind you, first and foremost, take where it resonates, leave the rest behind, and always and forever, this is your reminder to stay in a high vibration. And until next time, love you all.